Alright, so this is going to be another movie review, but fortunately this movie is actually a documentary. It has to do with current events to some extent. I hit on my Netflix queue back in 2007, and I had it on there because somebody on MySpace, maybe the director of the movie or marketing person affiliated with the movie, had turned me on to it back when in the day when MySpace was popular, and I just didn't have time to watch it, so I just put it on the bottom of my MySpace queue, my Netflix queue. I put it on the bottom of my Netflix queue, and it sat there for 5 years. In 2012, recently, I got it up to the top, and I just watched it. It's about 2 hours long. It's called American Drug War: The Last White Hope. Before I watched it, I didn't know what the last white hope meant, but anyway, back in 2007, I put like a banner on my MySpace page promoting this movie, and I don't know if it's still on there, but anyway, my son is in the back. He just woke up. So getting back to the movie, the American Drug War, it has lots of insightful things in it that I never knew. For instance, the Iran-Contra, the alleged drug smuggling operation through the CIA. I didn't know much about that. I didn't know anything about big-time drug dealer in South Central LA by the name of Freeway Ricky Ross, I think his name is, and he was sort of like the character that Ice Cube plays in Boys in the Hood. I didn't really like Boys in the Hood, but at one point, one of the former LAPD officers who worked with counter narcotics, he mentioned that famous scene in the movie Boys in the Hood where Lawrence Fishburne asked the rhetorical question, where are all the drugs coming from? They're not coming from here, they're coming from outside the United States, that kind of thing. So that was my favorite movie. That was my favorite part of Boys in the Hood. I didn't really like the movie that much. I saw it about 5 years ago. I didn't think it was that great of a movie, but that one part with Lawrence Fishburne is pretty good. And my son wants to get in this video, so why not? There are a lot of experts in the drug policy. They didn't really spend much time with Ron Paul. They gave maybe 1 second at the beginning, but Ron Paul doesn't really talk about the war on drugs too much, unless he's in San Francisco, of course. And there is a lot of coverage of Gary Johnson. He was more famous because he was governor of New Mexico for 8 years, and he came up for drug legalization. This movie doesn't really talk much about legalization. I think it favors more the Judge Jim Gray approach of decriminalization. And I used to be a hardcore libertarian, thinking that everything had to be free markets and drugs didn't have to be regulated or taxed, much the same way it was prior to 1917, or whenever the government started cracking down on so-called marijuana, which is actually cannabis hemp. But now that I come to think of it, and I've seen Amsterdam, my friend has gone there, and I've seen the crime rates are much lower in Amsterdam than they are in the United States. I tend to favor the decriminalization approach, and I know there's a ballot initiative in California that would favor that approach on marijuana, decriminalization, heavy regulation, that kind of thing, maybe even heavy taxation. And I'm starting to lean more towards that approach these days because we've seen that it works in Holland. It's a much better from a public policy sort of crime control perspective to use that approach than it is to use the war on drugs. So I'm thinking it's a viable alternative. I'd be interested to see your comments. I know in the movie they talk about PCP and meth as being hardcore drugs that mess people up. Well, I'm sure that's the case with any drug, but with meth, I've never seen it make anybody go crazy. I saw Rodney King when he was on PCP, and there is one guy who supposedly is on PCP. He does something with a cigarette to make it even more powerful or whatever, and he goes into a restaurant totally naked and he starts mumbling weird shit. But I don't know if that's such a widespread problem in the United States, PCP and meth use. It seems like the movie's saying that heroin is the new problem from Afghanistan, or maybe crystal meth. I'm not sure exactly, what the drug scourge is in the United States. But the thing I like about the movie is that it shows how the drug war has failed, and it proposes a viable alternative. The Amsterdam approach seems to work better. And it covers all bases. Like I said, it covers the whole conspiracy with Iran-Contra, CIA drug smuggling. And I don't know why Jello Biafra is in this movie. That guy is a clown. But and I actually watched Jello Biafra do spoken word at OK Hotel in Seattle before the big earthquake. And Jello Biafra likes to talk about drug legalization, marijuana, that kind of thing. But then when I saw him at the Neurosis concert in San Francisco, I showed him a drug legalization T-shirt, and he wasn't too interested. He's sort of a cocky asshole, and I think that's probably why he got his leg broken at 924 Gilman one time. I never really understood why Neurosis decided to become an industrial band under his label anyway. But that's sort of a side issue. I think Jello Biafra ran for mayor at one point, maybe in the 70s. And his part of his platform was to require all the businessmen in downtown San Francisco to wear clown suits. So you can see Jello Biafra himself is kind of a clown, not a very credible expert on the drug war. But I did like that how they interviewed Tommy Chong while he was in prison. That was cool. I like Tommy Chong's daughter. She's a great actress, and she actually played a prostitute. Can't remember the name of the movie, but it's about prostitutes and pimps. And there's another drug movie with David Carradine. I can't remember the name of it, but it's about smuggling cocaine from one of those South American countries. I don't remember. It's like Bolivia or Colombia. Where was cocaine coming from back in the 80s? I can't even remember. But I didn't really like that movie too much either. I don't know why I dislike drug movies like Boys in the Hood and Tropical something with David Carradine. This movie is much better because it's more raw, more realistic, and it promotes decriminalization, which is a position that I tend to agree with. So that's it. That's about all I had to say about this movie. it gets annoying at times, like for instance when Cynthia McKinney, the Green Party lady or whatever, says something like, well, there shouldn't be a war on drugs, there should be a war on poverty instead. But yeah, socialism, communism doesn't work, Cynthia McKinney. I don't even know why you're in this video, because you're just a politician trying to run for president under the Green Party banner. I don't think you got very many votes in 2008, and I don't respect your opinion 95% of the time, so I don't even know why you're in this movie. Not to say this movie is bad. They only give maybe 5 minutes total to these kind of people, but Jim Gray and Gary Johnson get a lot of face time, so I can't really complain in that respect. I think it was a great movie, and tried to cover all bases. It was very balanced. So check it out. It's available for free, and I'll post a link right above the comments under the description of this video, so you can watch it for free. If you got 2 hours to spare, I'd say check it out. I learned a lot from this movie, and you will too. Thanks.